I added some books to my TBR list. I'm excited to get to them. I have a lot on my plate right now though, because like I'm doing the Crown of Midnight thing right now, and then I'm also needing to finish Goldfinch, and then we have Onyx Storm that comes out here in like 2 weeks, a week and a half ish, and then right after that there's another book. So it's just like the TBR list is just there. I did just delete it. I delete it every so often when I haven't really read anything on it. But what I do is I note the ones that I put back onto my TBR list when I'm at the store. I did notably lean this time a lot more towards high fantasy instead of like romantasy. I really want to explore, I think, a lot of like epics this year. Definitely going to read Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings. Hello, welcome back to the Bathroom Book Club. It is, in fact, quiet hours on set, and I am going to tell you about the books I added on my TBR list. We have to be quiet, because if you haven't been to the Bathroom Book Club before, you would not know that my baby is asleep in that room, and my husband is playing games in that room, so I'm being accommodating, and you're going to hear toilet seat move around because it's the Bathroom Book Club. The quintessential part of the Bathroom Book Club is that it is in the bathroom. Lighting is better right here than it is on the ground. So the first book I added to my TBR list is The Hurricane Wars by Thea Guanzon. And this top review for this book says, this book is either a sweeping epic fantasy or takes place in Florida. Impossible to know which. All Taliesin has ever known is the Hurricane Wars. Growing up an orphan in a nation under siege by ruthless Knight Emperor, Taliesin has found her family among soldiers who fight for freedom. But she is hiding a deadly secret. Light magic courses through her veins, a blazing power believed to have been wiped out years ago that can cut through the Knight Emperor's shadows. Prince Alaric, the Emperor's only son and heir, has been forged into a weapon by his father, tasked with obliterating any threats to the Knight Empire's rule with the strength of his armies and mighty shadow magic. Alaric has never been bested. That is until he sees Taliesin burning brightly on the battlefield with a magic that killed his grandfather, turned his father into a monster, and ignited the Hurricane Wars. In a clash of light and dark, their powers merge and create a force the likes of which never has been seen before. It's a sweeping enemies to lovers. And the reason I haven't had this on my TBR list before now is that I feel like we kind of just read the entire book. In that synopsis, like, I kind of feel like we know exactly what's gonna happen. We know it's enemies to lovers. We know their magic is gonna meld. So, like, what is there to read? It feels like Karen, if you know, you know. But yeah, I've added it to my TBR because I can indulge a little bit. The next one I added to my TBR was The Last Blade Priest, which I definitely added because the cover is a bird skull and it's called The Last Blade Priest. Are you kidding me? Einar is a master builder for the kingdom of Mishing Te. Life is hard after the kingdom lost the war against the League of Free Cities, doubly so since his father betrayed the king and paid the ultimate price. Now the king's terrifying chancellor and torturer-in-chief has arrived and instructed Einar to go and work for the League and to spy for him, and any builder knows you don't put yourself between a rock and a hard place. Far away, Anton, Blade Priest for Cray, the God Mountain, is about to get caught up in a vicious internal war that will tear his religion apart. Chosen from infancy to conduct human sacrifice, he's secretly relieved the practice has been abruptly stopped. But an ancient enemy has returned, an occult conspiracy is unfolding, and he will struggle to keep his hands clean in a world engulfed in bloodshed. I think this one just sounds sick. The Last Blade Priest. The Scholar and the Last Faerie Door. All they needed to break the world was a door and someone to open it. Camford, 1920. Gilded and glittering, England's secret magical academy is no place for Clover, a commoner with neither connections nor magical blood. She tells herself she has fought her way there to find a cure for her brother Matthew, one of the few survivors of a fairy attack on the battlefields of World War I, which left the doors to fairy country sealed. The study of its magic banned and its victims cursed. But when Clover catches the eye of Golden Boy Alden Lennox Fontaine and his friends, doors that were previously closed to her are flung wide open, and she soon finds herself enmeshed in the seductive world of the country's magical aristocrats. The summer she spends in Alden's orbit leaves a fateful mark. Months of joyous friendship and mutual study come crashing down when experiences go awry and old secrets are unsheathed. The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I added this one as well. I have read Samantha Shannon before. I'm in the middle of reading The Bone Season. Well, not in the middle. I'm completely caught up. I'm waiting for the next book to come out. But this book looks crazy. It's also like this thick. A world divided, a queendom without an heir, an ancient enemy awakens. The house of Berethned has ruled in Nice for 1,000 years. Still unwed, Queen Sabran IX must conceive a daughter to protect her realm from destruction. Iad Durian is an outsider at court, and though she has risen to the position of lady in waiting, she is loyal to a hidden society of mages, yet keeps a watchful eye on Sabran, secretly protecting her with forbidden magic. Across the dark sea, Tanae has trained to be a dragon rider since she was a child, but is forced to make a choice that could see her life unravel. Meanwhile, the divided East and West refuse to parley, and forces of chaos rise from their sleep. Love it. We got multiple character POVs that are going to be happening at the same time, and they use the word parley. Miss Shannon used the word parley. I love that word. Okay, the High Mountain Court. Almost added this so many times to my TBR, but every time I'm like, oh, the High Mountain Court, like that sounds pretty similar to like every fairy thing I've ever read, but I'm gonna actually read it this time. It's perfect for fans of Jennifer L. Armentrout. So, a red witch in hiding, 13 years fleeing witch hunters, and the looming threat of death, 19-year-old Remy knows she is possibly the last red witch alive, and she is determined to stay that way. The Northern Court King has slaughtered her home court and placed a bounty on red witch heads. When Forfeit warriors enter her tavern refuge, Remy tries to flee, but her magic isn't strong enough to stop a Fae prince on a mission. The handsome Prince Hale of the Eastern Kingdom wants to stop a war with the Northern Court before his kingdom befalls the same fate as Remy's. He needs a red witch, and Remy may be the only person alive who can help him. Can she really trust Prince Hale? Can her fallen court be resurrected from the evil clutches of the Northern Court King? For the chance to save herself, her people, and defeat the Northern King, Remy must put her faith in Hale and his companions on a dangerous quest to find the lost relics. I just think it sounds really fun. Like, all I can say is I just think, like, I can't say anything else. I just think that these all sound really fun. This one's another assassin one. This is Foundryside. Sancha Grotto is a thief and a damn good one. On her latest target, a heavily guarded warehouse on Tevian's docks is nothing her unique abilities can't handle. But unbeknownst to her, Sancha's been sent to steal an artifact of unimaginable power, an object that could revolutionize magical technology known as scribing. The merchant houses who control this magic, the art of using coded commands to imbue everyday objects with sentience, have already used it to transform Tevian into a vast, remorseless capitalist machine. But if they can unlock the artifact's secrets, they will rewrite the world to suit their aims. Now, someone in those houses wants Sancha dead and the artifact for themselves. And the city of Tevian, there's nobody with the power to stop them, to have a chance at surviving and at stopping the deadly transformation that's underway. Sancha will have to marshal unlikely allies, learn to harness the artifact's power for herself, and undergo her own transformation, one that will turn her into something she could have never imagined. All I'm saying is I love a good thief story. And the last one I added to my TBR, The Mists of Avalon by Marion Zimmer Bradley. As Morgraine and Guinevere struggle for control over the fate of Arthur's kingdom, as the Knights of the Round Table take on their infamous quests, as Merlin and Vivienne wield the magics for the future of Old Britain, the Isle of Avalon slips further into the impenetrable mists of memory, until the fissure between old and new worlds and old and new religions claims its most famous victim. Yeah, that just sounds like a pretty good way to put it. And I actually do have another book I added to my TBR called The Voice of the Ocean, which kind of seems like The Little Mermaid retelling. As the youngest daughter of the Siren Queen, Celeste's life is tightly controlled. Desperate to prove her worth, she intends to join the Chorus, an elite group of Siren warriors. With her final test on the horizon, Celeste must finally gain control over her temperamental song, capital S. But when Celeste encounters a seemingly harmless ship, helmed by the intriguing Prince Raiden Sharp, her path veers towards forbidden waters. Believing the handsome sailor to be innocent of any wrongdoing, Celeste defies Siren law to save Raiden's life, despite knowing he is the son of a king who has murdered many of her kindred. The penalty for Celeste's betrayal should be death, but the queen offers her right to her wrong by assassinating the prince. Determined to first discover the truth behind the prince's clandestine mission, Celeste agrees to become human. The human world is nothing like she expected, nor is the prince the charming and noble man she assumed him to be. But as Celeste finds her place aboard the ship, friendships and attraction begin to grow. Will Celeste be able to save herself, or will her choices unravel a kingdom, devastating sirens and humans alike? That sounds so good. Are you kidding me? So that's my TBR list. I do this thing sometimes where I just literally delete my entire TBR list because why not? I feel like if I would have read those books at any point, I would have already read them. So I just delete them all, and then I use that excuse to go back to Barnes & Noble and add some more books to my TBR list. Thanks for watching this video about my TBR list. I do know that the books I am going to be reading next are definitely Onyx Storm in like a couple days. It's so sad, you guys. I pre-ordered the physical copy and I won't even be able to pick it up because I'm going out of town. Anyways, if you watched this far in, consider this my formal invitation for us to be book besties. I need people to talk to about my books. Okay? Okay. Message me on Instagram @plantingashley.